Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kate. This is Diamond Painting and Dr. Pepper, and it's time for a month in review. June's month in review to be exact. And I have to apologize in advance if you hear some booming going on. It is currently the 4th of July as I'm recording this video, and the idiots are out in force setting off their illegal fireworks. I also have a dog here behind me who is not happy about it, so if he gets nervous, he might jump up and come see me, so we'll see how this goes. It should be interesting. I am here to talk about all of the things I got up to in the month of June as far as diamond painting and reading goes. So thank you so much for being here. If you're only interested in the diamond painting stuff, I'm going to do all that first. And then if you want to hear about my reading adventures, you can stay on at the end. I'll talk about all that stuff. So first off, we're going to talk about my finishes and whips for June. Finishes, there weren't any, so that's a quick one. That's done. Now we can talk about my whips. I have 4 whips that I've been working on. The first one is Chocolate Dream by Miss Holly. This kit is a square kit. It is 65 by 91.8 centimeters, and I started it February 13th. This one is my just whenever I spin it on my spinny wheel, I'll do a section, and it has really no event that I'm working on it for. It's just my fun kit that I wanted to work on at the time, and it can take a long time if it needs to, that's fine. So I have its weight set pretty low in my whip wheel because it's okay if it takes a while. So as you can see for this one, I did get a little bit done on it. My wheel landed on this kit a lot in the course of one of the weeks of this month, so I got like 3 sections done in that week, but it didn't spin it the rest of the time. So all in all, I didn't actually get even a whole row done on this one this month. But I'm still enjoying the heck out of it. It's a fun kit. I love all the colors, and I really love working with the frosted drills on this one. It's my first time trying them, and I'm enjoying them a lot. So that's whip number 1. My second whip is my Year of Disney kit. It's called Desert Date, and it's this cute image of Mickey and Minnie on a date with some buildings behind them, kind of look like they're walking in some desert city. I started this one on May 2nd. It is an 85 by 42.5 centimeter round kit, and every time I work on it, it's such a joy. I am a fan of color blocking. I know there's people out there completely don't agree, but for me, color blocking is easy mode, and I love it so much. So I didn't get much done on this kit this month, though. It wasn't spun a whole lot on my whip wheel. So again, not even a whole row got done on this one, but I did nicely finish off the end of the row. So that was kind of satisfying to end up on like exactly this many rows done, you know. I'm hoping to spin this one more in the next month in July, but either way, I think I'm going to finish it, because if I don't finish it by the time I go to the retreat at the end of July, I probably am going to bring it and finish it, or hopefully get through the rest of it at the retreat. That is my current plan, at least. For whip number 3, we have Office by Sonia Stegeman. This is a square kit. It is 77.5 by 55 centimeters, and it's my pride kit for the year, and I'm enjoying it so much. So I started Office a little early. I started on May 23rd because I knew I wasn't going to finish it in June, even if I started early. So I figured I might as well just get started even though it wasn't June yet. So I started it May 23rd. I love that it's got a lot of color blocking, but in an interesting way, because I'm doing a lot of bookshelves, and that's always fun. I think it'll change a little bit as I move through the image, but right now I started off on the right and there's mostly just bookshelves there. But as I go through it, it's going to change quite a bit as far as what the content of each section is. But right now I'm enjoying it a ton. I did get quite a bit on this one done in June over a row, which is pretty nice. So I spun this one quite a bit, and I'm kind of did that by design in my whip wheel. I have this one and my next whip weighted higher than everything else because they were both for June events. So this was my Pride kit, and the next one is my Ivy Dollamore Along event kit. But yeah, I did get quite a good bit done on this one. Definitely not nearly the whole thing, but I knew that going in that I wasn't going to be able to finish it. So now I'm kind of like, ooh, the countdown is on to finish most of these whips by September when Drills and Chills starts. So I better get on it. But anyway, that was Office by Sonia Stegemann. And then my fourth and final whip is The Moon Thief by Ivy Dollamore. As I said, this is for the Ivy Along event that was happening in June, hosted by Michaela Renee, Messy Girl Crafts, Ashley, and Kara, the principal painter. I started The Moon Thief on June 5th because that is the first time my whip wheel spun it since the start of the month. It had been on my whip wheel since June 1st, but June 5th is when I spun it and was able to kit it up and start it. And it's actually less color blocking than I thought it was going to be down at the bottom. It all kind of looks like mostly a couple colors, but there's quite a lot of blues in there. It was surprising. So I sectioned this one off into quite large sections because I was hoping that would help me move through it faster, but each section took me longer than I expected it to because of how much more confetti there was than I thought there was going to be. But I enjoyed it a lot. I'm having a lot of fun with this kit, and I got, I think, the most done on this one out of any other kit I was working on this month. So still not anywhere near a finish, but I'm pretty happy with the amount that I was able to get done during the month since it was a busy month for me. Okay, so that is all of my whips. Now I'm going to talk about what I purchased in the month of June as far as diamond paintings go. And I made two purchases. Well, really it was one purchase from one drop, but I bought two kits from that drop. So I got Night Out by Mrs. Butter D and Too Many Hobbies by Miss Holly. So those are the two kits that I purchased, and I am so excited for both of them. They are by some of my favorite artists, and I was really happy to be able to get my hands on those. Okay, well, that was quick. That was everything I managed to make a dent on as far as diamond painting went. If you are interested in book talk, stick around. Otherwise, thank you so much for being with me as I talked about my diamond painting month, and I will see you in my next video. And if you are sticking around for the books, I will see you in just a second. Okay, fellow book lovers, thank you so much for being here for the rest of this video to talk about the things that I read in June. I finished 6 books this month, and it was a fairly good month as far as my ratings went. Half of them were 5-star books, so that's pretty great. And then the rest of them didn't get lower than 4 stars, except for one that I didn't rate. So we'll talk about that one first, actually, because it was my first finish of the month, and that is Guards by Terry Pratchett. It's the first Discworld novel that I have ever read, and I didn't rate it because I have heard that with Discworld, the more books you read, the more wrapped up in each other they become, and the more the world makes sense to you, and it all kind of ties in together. So I felt like giving it a rating when I've only read one is a little bit unfair to Discworld, because if I was going to give a rating just by itself, I'd probably give it about a 3, which still is an average rating for me, the way I rate things. But I have a feeling if I read more, I might change my mind about the rating of the book. So that's why I'm just leaving it unrated for now. And I'm currently working on reading the second book in that subsection of Discworld called Men at Arms. So we'll see how that goes. By the way, I'm going to be popping up some graphics, if I haven't already, that are from Storygraph. I started using Storygraph in addition to Goodreads this month because I saw some other people posting fun little graphics that it makes for their book wrap-ups every month. And I thought it would be really fun to have that to look at. So I decided to try it. And it's been pretty fun to finish my first month on there and see what kind of graphics it comes up with. So I thought I'd show them to you too. You're getting a little bit of a spoiler of all the books that I read, but that's fine. So speaking of, book number 2 was called White Hot. It was by Ilona Andrews, and it's the second book in their Hidden Legacy trilogy. This is a book series based on a private detective named Nevada Baylor, and she lives in an alternate version of our world where way back when a serum was invented that gave human beings extraordinary powers, like magical powers, basically. And even though they eventually realized that giving human beings magical powers maybe wasn't the best idea and stopped making the serum, and that technology has since been lost, they did discover that the magical abilities were passed through genealogy. So when these people started having children, they passed on their magical abilities to their children. So now the world is basically run by several different houses of magical people, and they have a lot of power. So it's kind of really interesting reading about a different version of our world and how things would be different if that were the case. Kind of fun. I really loved mostly the character of Nevada Baylor and her family. She lives with her family in like this giant warehouse that they've converted, and it's her and her mom and grandma and her siblings and a couple of her cousins, and just the dynamic they have together is really fun to read about. They're a great group of characters that I just really enjoyed. So throughout all 3 of the books, because I also, as you can see, did finish the 3rd and final book in this series this month. But yeah, I gave White Hot 5 stars. It was a really good follow-up to the first book. I liked it even better than book 1 because all of the characters, I felt more assured about the kind of characters they were going to develop into in book 2. In book 1, I wasn't so sure I was going to like how that was going to go, but book 2 confirmed that I would like the direction it was taking. So really enjoyed book 2. And then I'll go ahead and talk about book 3 since you can see I finished that this month too. Book 3 was also a 5-star read, and I really felt like it was a great wrap up for the series. I do know that there is kind of a spin-off follow-up series that features Nevada Baylor's younger sister, so I'm excited to read those in the future because I would love to read more about this family. So yeah, both of those were 5-star reads. Can highly recommend if you like kind of urban fantasy stuff. I thought they were great. So in between finishing those 2, I did finish The Spear Cuts Through Water, which is the book club book that I have been reading with Sam and Fletcher and Jessica, my friend and my 2 oldest kids. And this was a Fletcher book pick, and it was really uniquely written. The way that the prose was set up, you're kind of reading it. A lot of it is in second person, as if it's talking, like it's saying, you do this, you do that. And so you're watching this play happen in this big theater, but it's part of your own dream. It's very interesting. And then the actors on the play are portraying this story that then becomes the main story of the book that you're reading, and that's in third person, but also at the same time interweaved within the story of the 2 protagonists we're following. You get just little snippets of the thought processes going on in the heads of people that they just barely meet or encounter. And it's a really interesting way to tell a story, and I thoroughly enjoyed that part of it. I gave this book 4 stars, mostly because there were parts of the book that were a little too gruesome for me, a little too sad. I felt like we lingered a little bit too long or reintroduced too many times things that I felt like we understood the first time, or they didn't need that much screen time, and it was just stuff that was uncomfortable to sit with. So that's why I took a star off, but definitely is a very subjective thing. So it really depends on what you like to read about or hear about when you're listening. But yeah, still a very worthwhile book to read. I enjoyed it a lot. All right, so after Wildfire, the 3rd book in the Ilona Andrews Hidden Legacy series, I read Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber, and this is, I guess, the first in a new series by Stephanie Garber, who is the author of the Caraval series. I did read the first book in the Caraval series a couple of years ago, and I liked it. I haven't gotten around to reading the rest of it. I probably should sometime soon before I completely forget everything that happened in Caraval. But I did find Alchemy of Secrets similar to Caraval in a few ways. Most of that was in the way that I felt like the main character had some issues with figuring out who to trust and being too trusting of whoever she happened to be with at the time. And when you have people around you who are both telling you that they're the trustworthy one, not that other person, how do you decide who to trust? And it seemed like she decided who to trust just based on who she was in proximity with. And I got a little frustrated with her about that. But overall, I thought the book was very fun. It's one of those that you want to just pick up and keep reading. You don't want to put down because it's so interesting. So it had that going for it. And I really enjoyed the subject matter, which was like folklore, fairy tales, and whether or not they were actually true in real life or whether they were just stories. And there was mystery involved and stuff like that. all right up my alley. So I really did enjoy this one. I gave it a 4-star. Liked it a lot. I'm excited to read the second one when it comes out. I think I actually liked this book more than I liked Caraval. So there's that. And then right towards the end of the month, I managed to squeak in one more read. It was The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. And this book was one of those books that I actually feel like was kind of life-changing for me. The premise is that it's all written in letters to and from this older woman. I think she's 73 when the book starts out. Her name is Sybil, and she has been a letter writer her whole life. So you kind of get her perspective on things, but then you also get basically how people respond to her. So the only way you get into other people's heads for the most part is what she reads from them, responding to her, talking to them. It goes through, I think it starts out, it's 2012, and she's writing letters all the way through something like 2019. I could be getting that final year wrong, but it's a lot of years that you go through with what's going on in this person's life, and you get to know her really well. And she's kind of a persnickety old woman who is really set in her ways, but she's losing her vision, and she's worried about how that's going to affect her letter writing and just her day-to-day life since she lives alone. I was really impressed that this book focused on someone who, like, the protagonist is a much older person than the protagonists of most books I read. And I really enjoyed that change because most of her time was spent either in the present or looking behind her rather than focused on actions she would take in the future or the near future. And it made for a very different reading experience, added to the fact that you were reading correspondence only rather than any narrative. So it was a really interesting read, and the audiobook was done really well. It had different voice actors for different characters in the book who were writing these letters to and from Sybil. And yeah, it made me cry several times. It was beautifully written. She writes these letters as if she's writing a novel. It's just gorgeous the way that she speaks in these letters she's writing to people. And the things that you find out about her and what's happened in her life and what's happened in the lives of the people around her are just really poignant and beautiful to read about. And it made me want to start writing letters to people. So I highly recommend this one if you are okay with a lot of sad feelings. But it's also just a really good book focused on the humanity of people. So what a great way to end out the month. But the booms are really happening now, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go here. Thank you so much for listening to how my month went. I hope that you guys got a lot done during the month of June on your projects. Please let me know down below how June went for you, and I will DAC you all in my next video. Bye, everybody.